Hello and welcome to this 13th entry of the Thoughtful Knitter video journal, which also happens to be our anniversary episode. So happy birthday to us, all 5,000 odd of us. It's been a really quick year. It's been a very heartwarming year getting to know you all, and I just want to thank you all for leaving such lovely comments and subscribing and liking and just being jolly good sorts. For anyone who's new, my name is Ailey and I live in the very far north of the Scottish mainland. You can find me anywhere online as Coastal Lasky. So on Ravelry, I'm Coastal Lasky. I'll put it on the screen because that is a dialect word which you won't know how to spell. And on Instagram, I'm coastal.lasky. And there's also an Instagram account for this channel where you'll find all of the kind of links and tags and things for anything that I mention for each episode and where I do any announcements pertaining to the channel. So yeah, it's nice to have you here. Anything else I mention will also be in the description box down below, where you'll also find chapters so you can skip between anything that I mention on the video. Yeah, so admin stuff done. Check. So next is a quick disclaimer before we get any further, and that's to say that I am in the immediate aftermath of a migraine at the moment. So if I'm looking more washed out than usual, or if I'm more rambly and incoherent, that's why. My brain is mush. But I wanted to get this recorded today because I'm fast running out of time before I need to get this uploaded to YouTube. So I hope I'm not too bad. Please forgive me if I am speaking nonsense. So yeah, that said, what else? Today I thought I might do a little bit of my usual stuff. So I'll have a really short section to do with what I'm wearing and some finished objects and some works in progress. The most of the episode is going to be dedicated to showing you which pieces of knitwear that I'm going to be selling. So I have not yet done it, but the plan is I'm going to set up a Ko-fi account and sell everything on there, and everything that I get from the sale will be donated to a charity. I'm thinking it'll probably be International Medical Corps, because they work in places of crisis and deliver medical care and supplies to those places. So we're talking war zones and natural disasters and the like. So yeah, that's the plan. So most of this episode is going to be showing you the things that are available to buy there. I'd be delighted if anybody wants to buy anything and help me raise some money. I'm thinking that it might be quite a good way for people who want to give knitted gifts but don't really like knitting for other people. Because I know it's really a personal thing whether you enjoy knitting for others or not, and this is your hobby, so do what makes you happy. So if you have people in your life that you'd like to give a knitted gift to but can't be bothered knitting it, then maybe this can be a happy arrangement that we can come to, and in so doing raise some money for a good cause. So apart from that, I just wanted to really quickly chat a wee bit about why I decided to call this channel The Thoughtful Knitter, because I don't think I've ever done that. And we're now a year in and I've never explained myself. So the reason I called it The Thoughtful Knitter is that I basically have a brain that never switches off. So it is full of thoughts all the time. And I spend a lot of my time knitting and thinking about different people in my life and different things in my life. And because I came from a family that had knitters in it, I associate it a lot with my nana, who is my dad's mum. So I spend quite a lot of time thinking about her. I lost her when I was only 9, but she was there in the formative years and she passed on some of her knowledge and the basic skills. And yeah, when I knit, I think about her and I think about my dad, and my granddad, because they were fishermen and they used to do their own form of knitting, which was netting. They would be making fishing nets or covering creels with netting as well. So yeah, I think about them, and my dad was a big champion of my knitting, I think probably because it reminded him of his mum. And he liked to see that being carried on. So he was always really encouraging when he saw me doing anything. I remember the first time I decided to knit cables and he happened to come in the house and he was like, "Oh, you're knitting cables." And yeah, so it was just a really nice memory. So those sorts of things fill my mind when I'm knitting. And I also do a lot of gift knitting and knitting for people that I can't see physically. So my thoughts quite often are filled with those people and knitting my thoughts for them into my projects. And when it came to launching this channel, it was really a case of, I think I've said previously in a special episode, but it was a case of I couldn't really get out and about to go to in-person knit nights or knit groups, and wanted just somewhere that I could speak about my knitting. So decided to launch the channel, and when I was doing it I thought, well, this would be quite nice just to do something specifically aimed at people who struggle with fatigue or have low attention spans or are limited on time, can only watch things in short sections. So hence why I have all the different sections in my videos. So that was another reason that I thought thoughtful, because it was thinking of others in the content creation. The intention from the start was that these would be very short videos. They would only be up to a maximum of 30 minutes, and I had hoped that I would record more often, so little and often. But that just doesn't seem to be doable for me, and I'm finding that most of my episodes are kind of coming out around the 40-minute mark, and I'm just going to be okay with that. And I know everybody's different in what they can and can't watch, and I'm just going to go with what I can produce and what I enjoy producing, and hope that it meets somebody where they are. So yeah, that's just a little bit of background that you haven't known before, and I thought I would maybe explain it. And before I ramble on any more, why don't we get into what you've all come for, and that is the knitting. So let's start with what I'm wearing. What I'm wearing today is probably the most knitted pattern of all time, which is the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. And this is my first ever Ranunculus, and I just happened to put it on today because it is a cropped version. So it is one that is made short sleeved with a single hank of 4-ply or fingering weight yarn. So it used 400 meters, and yeah, this is the first one I ever knitted, and it fits really well with these dungarees because it's cropped, so it fits in nicely. So I knitted this one back at the very start of 2020, and I knitted it out of a single hank that I'd gotten from Emma of Woolly Mammoth Fibres. I'd bought it online and had picked it up at the Ulysse Knit Retreat, which was held in Larne in Northern Ireland in November 2019. So just a few months before the world went topsy-turvy. Yeah, so at that same retreat I met Selma of the Little Big Knits podcast, and she was wearing a ranunculus, and up until that point I just was not into it at all, couldn't see the appeal. And then I saw hers and was like, ooh, now that's lovely. So I had already ordered this ahead of time, no idea what I was going to do with it, and I thought actually that would make a really lovely ranunculus. I've only got a single hank, so this is perfect. So it's just a single strand of fingering weight yarn. It's her natural sock base, which is, if I remember rightly, 50% Cheviot and 50% Bluefaced Leicester, high twist. And I knitted this on a lower needle, smaller needle size, so it's on a tighter gauge, because I wasn't using any fluff with it, and I thought, you know, it would be far too gabby otherwise. So I knitted it on a 5.5mm needle. And I really enjoy it. I'm not normally a crop person, but I do like this one. So yeah, there's not much else to tell you about it. I'm not gonna wax lyrical about the pattern because everybody and their auntie has seen it before, knitted it before, but yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. Righty-ho, finished objects. So I'm going to show you the first one really quickly because I'm probably going to tell you a lot more about it in the next episode. I'll probably wear it then and tell you all about my modifications and how much yarn it used, that sort of things. But I'm going to show it to you today because this will be releasing on Friday the 30th of September, and I know quite a few people were keen to know when it was going to be releasing because they were interested in it. So this is my finished Cargill sweater. And this is the very first design by Creabea Designs, who is Rebecca of the Creabea podcast. And it's quite a versatile knit in that I used sport weight yarn, but some people have used even up to possibly RN weight, I think. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly show it to you in all its glory, if I can fit it in. And yeah, basically just to let you know that it is going to be releasing really soon. So keep your eyes peeled if you're interested. It is very squishy, it's extremely warm, and I'll tell you more about it next time. So the other finished object that I wanted to tell you about is my Lone Skein shawl by Hochi Locatelli. So I have finished it. I knitted, it's not really showing. I don't know if that's the right colour, but I knitted this in needle and thread Perth-fection colourway. It's their sock base, which is BFL and nylon. It's quite a busy yarn, so you maybe can't see the detail of the... Well, you can. I have woven in my ends, I've just not cut them off yet. Because I wasn't entirely sure whether I was going to keep this. I knitted it up and thought, maybe this yarn wants to be socked, or maybe this yarn wants to be in my blanket. So I haven't fully decided if it's going to be kept, but yeah, this was done in the Souvenir Skein official colourway from the Perth Festival of Yarn, and it's a beautiful colour. But I don't know if I have much in my wardrobe that will go with this, which is one problem. But yes, I think I mentioned before that we've got a stream of light coming on here. Let's see what we can do about this. Yeah, so I have mentioned several times before that I don't really wear shawls and I have no business knitting them, but I do enjoy knitting them. So I got a bit overexcited when the Hochi Fall Cal came along, and also I've been sitting on my hands for the last few months during other knit-alongs to do with shawls, and eventually just couldn't take it anymore and decided to cast on. But we'll see whether it remains as a shawl or not. It is very lovely. If I do wear shawls, they do tend to be this shape, so almost like a scarf, like a long, shallow, crescent shaped shawl is the type of one that I have gotten use out of. The only other one that I've worn a lot before this has been another Hohe design, and that's the Storm Shawl. I pulled it out because I thought I might show it to you, and you'll see the similarities. I think I actually prefer this design. It's a bit lighter and a bit, this knobbly bit that you get with garter tabs doesn't seem to be as pronounced on this one. But yeah, that's the Storm Shawl. So the only other thing I wanted to say about this one is that it's called the Lone Skein Shawl, so it's meant to just use one hang of yarn. But I would say that you need to have a generous hang for it to work, because I knitted on the recommended needle size and I used, it was 421 meters, because I had the Perth-fection was one of these skeins that had over 400 meters. I think it was like 425 meters. So I had like the tiniest drop left. So yeah, I had like 1 gram left. So I would say you need to have a generous skein for this to work, because I normally have loads of yarn left over in my projects, and I was scraping it right to the end. And I think Hohe actually does say she puts tassels on these little picot edging bit if you've got leftovers. But she has mentioned in her pattern that if you don't have enough in your single skein, that you could maybe use a contrasting colour for the cast off and for any tassels. I'm not doing tassels, I'm not a tassel person. But yeah, I think that's all there is to say about that one. It was very, very quick. A really nice kind of mixture of interest and easy. So sections of garter, then sections of lace, then short rows. So yeah, quite a nice wee pattern. It looks better back here. So yes, not sure if it's going to be kept in this form or not yet, but I shall give it a go for a wee while and decide then. The worst that's going to happen is I get to knit with the yarn twice, which is no terrible thing. Okay, so let's go on to works in progress. The only work in progress that I wanted to tell you about this time is the Bonny Isle hat, which is the Shetland Wool Week official hat, because by the time you see this video, Shetland Wool Week will have started. And yeah, I have started my Bonny Isle hat. So quite often when it comes to Fair Isle knitting, I like to choose my own colours, but I'm noticing that with these hats, because they come in colours that I would never put together myself, I actually am quite enjoying buying the kits. So last year as well, I bought the Erable yarns kit for the Dick Crofter's cape, and I've done the same again. I've gone for this one, which is the Erable one. So I will show you where I'm at. This is where we are so far. It's looking really good actually. So I'm just starting the crown decreases. I decided I did modify it slightly, so let's see if we can find a good picture. You see on here, I think Linda herself had said that this is quite a slouchy beanie, and if you wanted a closer fitting one, which I prefer, to get rid of this first band here in the blue. But I started working mine and thought, actually I quite like the symmetry that you get. Let's see. So you would lose this symmetry because you've got the black and then the waves and then the anchors and then the waves and then the black again. And I quite like that symmetry. So what I decided instead was to miss out this repeat in here, this little motif. And ended up just working just normal corrugated rib for that, and then went straight into the repeats there. So yeah, I think it's looking really good. As I was saying, I quite like the fact that these are colours that I would never probably have put together or even thought about using. Most of them I would use probably, but possibly not together. So I'll show you them all in the bottles. Right, these are the colours, and probably I would use all of these, no problem. Wouldn't think twice about using any of those. This is a colour I don't think I would ever have picked up. It's just a little bit too bright, a little bit too carrot, but it really, really lifts this pattern. And yeah, I'm loving it. I don't know if I'm keeping it or not. It might be like last year where I knitted the Shetland wool week hat and gave it away. But yeah, I'm liking it so far, and it's been really a nice knit. I think I am knitting the medium size. Is that right? Yes. Yeah. So I'm knitting the medium size. So yeah, free pattern. You can download it. I got the paper copy because I bought a kit, but you can download it and it's free right up until the next Shetland Wool Week hat is released, which will probably be, it used to always be in March, but this year it was, I think it was June or something before they released it. So watch this space for next year, I suppose. But yeah, loving this so far. Absolutely adoring the sea motifs, and I'm looking forward to getting to the crown, which is going to look like, I think she said it was a spinning wheel is what it was based on. You can't really see any pictures of it. It's like the spokes of a wheel, but to me it looks quite like a wheel of a boat too. So yeah, that's my work in progress. I'll hopefully have it finished really soon, and I'll probably start wearing it next week if it's cold enough during Shetland Wool Week. That's the end of the knitty content, apart from showing you all the knits that I hope to sell to raise money for charity. So if you're not interested in that, then thanks so much for being here. Please do tell anybody else you think might be interested in buying for charity, because I'd really like to raise as much as possible. And yeah, cheerio for now if you're off. For everybody else, most of what I have to show you, I actually recorded back in, I think it was May or June, because I was all set up to have this sale on eBay, and just as I was about to get organised and publish the video, eBay deleted it all. So I lost the plot, deleted my account, and sat on it for a few months. But actually it's been a really nice thing to kind of coincide with the anniversary, and it's also probably a better time of year because who's looking at buying knits in May and June unless you're in the southern hemisphere. As I said, I had initially hoped to have this sale on eBay because I thought that way we would be able to raise as much as possible for charity. But it wasn't plate and ball, so I have decided to open a Ko-fi account instead and sell on there because they don't take any fees, so everything that you give me can go straight to charity. So my plan is to set a price which will be based on the cost of the raw materials, and I'll also add like a token amount for knitting of it. So maybe like if it's a bigger thing, I don't know, like I do have one garment, so if it's a garment maybe like £20, and then if it's a shawl or something £10, I don't know, just like a token amount to cover that. And I'll set up all the different shipping options as well, hopefully. I don't know, I mean, if you want to pay more, I'm sure we you could get in touch with me and I could adjust the price. But let's just play it by ear. If you do want to get in touch with me about anything, just do so on email. That's probably the easiest way. So the email address for this channel is thethoughtfulknitter@gmail.com. There's a variety of different knits there. Some are from back a few years, so maybe my technique wasn't quite as good, so I will adjust the price accordingly. The only project that I wanted to add to the ones that I had already planned to sell is this one here, which is a balaclava. It's the November balaclava by Petite Knit. It fits the way it should fit, but it's too loose around my head for the weather here, because we have a lot of wind and there's no point in me having this if it's not glued to the side of my head, basically. So it looks huge, but it's not. It does fit the way it's meant to. What I will say about this is I ran out of the main colour yarn, so I was using, I think it was Novita, what was it, Novita Nordic wool or something, which I had a single 50-gram skein of, 50-gram hank of, and started using it, holding it with Drops Kids Silk Mohair. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Drops Kids Silk Mohair in some colourway or another, grey I think. And got to here and then suddenly realised I wasn't going to have enough, so I went to look to buy some more and it seems to be discontinued. I can't get it anywhere. So I went for something that was as similar as possible in content and colour. So this seems to be the closest, but you can really see on camera the difference in the colour. So I used it for the bottom bit here and also for the ribbon around the face. And this is Shirt to Garn something. I'll tell you, everything will be on the screen. So yeah, it's not as obvious in real life. You can barely see it. And it's quite good that it's in the ribbon on both bits. But as I've said, I'll adjust the prices for anything that's maybe a bit substandard. But if it's something just for yourself, you maybe don't want to give it to someone else like that. But if you want something just warm and cosy for the winter, that might be an option for you as well. I'm really sad to see it go because it is so soft, but it's just not going to be useful to me in this climate. So happy browsing, and this video is premiering, so it means that I'm going to be available in the comments if you are watching it as it premieres. So if you have any questions as you're watching, just type away and I will respond if I can, if it's an easy question. And if you're watching after the fact then and have some questions, again, just email me on thethoughtfulknitter@gmail.com. And yeah, like I said earlier, please do share with anyone you think would like to buy or be in the market for it, because I would love to not only de-stash but raise some money for a good cause. So let's start with this one. This is The Ramble by Andrea Mowry. It is quite sizable, has a lovely brioche detail, and this, it's so soft and lovely, but I just don't wear it. I made it about a year and a half ago and I've never worn it. So that is very pretty. Another one. This is knit in a mini skein set from Woolly Mammoth Fibres. And it's based on the Auspice shawl by Lisa Much. And I think I just added lots of bits to use up all of the mini skeins. This was what I called my sanity shawl. I knit this near the start of COVID. Again, haven't worn it. I made it really long because I was going to wear it as a kind of scarf. And I have also got, this is 4 years old and never worn, an Exploration Station by Stephen Waste. So it's got lots of eyelets and garter sections, what they called wedges, and then it's got some brioche and slip stitches and chevrons. I remember making the chevrons a lot shorter. Yep, this would be really warm. Okay, so those are the shawls. Let's move on to hats. This is a hat that I've got no idea what the pattern is. I do have it somewhere, I'll write it on the screen. And it was knit flat and seamed, and I did it the wrong way around. So that is meant to be the outside. As you can see, the lace shows an awful lot better. But it has what's that called? Seam on that side. So I always wore it that way. Didn't even realise it was wrong. Used to wear this one quite a bit, but it's too big for me now that I have short hair. So this is quite old. It's probably about 4 or 5 years old. Very lightweight. This one, which was a test knit, I think it's called the Gaillette by Lauren Rad. It's got lovely travelling stitches. So it's a nice lightweight beanie. Yeah, not so useful here with the wind, but very nice. Just don't wear it. Again, another one I don't wear. I knitted this out of the leftovers from my ramble. This is another Andrea Mowry pattern, and it's called Tincture. So it's a nice slip stitch, kind of geometric. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of chevron-y as well. Again, don't wear it, has a nice big pom-pom. And this one here, which was part of a set. I've got the mitts as well and a cowl. I'm not auctioning off the cowl because I actually wear it. So this is a set called Ailsa Craig by, can't remember her name. I'll have to put it on the screen, that's really bad. I do know it. And this was me trying to get out of my comfort zone and not succeeding. I liked knitting with it, but I don't really like wearing pink. So yeah, a nice colourwork beanie. This is probably some of my earlier colourwork, so my floats maybe aren't quite as good, but they're not dreadful. Not too bad. So there's going to be, I'll probably do this as a set, so there's going to be the hat and the mitts that go with it. And almost there. This is the Getting Warmer cowl, which is a free pattern by Espace Tricot. This is actually the same colour as I'm using for my Diana Walla jumper at the moment, but this is in their, this is Cascade 220 Eco something, I think it's like a chunky weight. Just don't use it, it's a little bit more snug. I've seen other ones that are really slouchy, but mine isn't that way. So that, and finally a Carbeth Cardi, which I have worn a lot in the past. Knitted it back 2018, I think. But it's chunky weight and cropped, and I always get too hot in it because I mean, you have to wear other things underneath it because it's cropped, but it's a beautiful cardigan, so hopefully somebody will want it to give it a new home. I think it's possibly smaller than it used to be. I didn't knit it hugely oversized, so it might be better for a kiddie or a teenager. But yeah, those are the things that are going to be auctioned off. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with a normal episode. And in the meantime, please take care. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, who's commented, who's liked my videos over the past year. It really, really, really warms my cockles. And yeah, I just really appreciate it, and really, really enjoy the comments. And I always reply. So yeah, keep doing it, please. So I don't feel like I'm just speaking to myself. And yeah, I'm going to stop waffling and see you very soon. Bye for now.